Thank you for that. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for inviting me. So I work with the Disability Employment Services contract, which is a federal government contract that helps people who have disabilities find work and stay in work. So we work with people with a range of disabilities. So everything from mental health, examples, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, vision impairment, deaf or hard of hearing, intellectual disabilities, including autism spectrum disorder, attention deficit disorder, learning disabilities and Down syndrome, acquired brain injuries and physical disabilities. So injured backs, knees, hips, ankles, shoulders, whatever it may be, and a lot more as well, but they're the main ones that we do deal with. When we have clients come in, they genuinely do want to work and they're just trying to get over those barriers of having disabilities to be able to do what they were doing before. When I first got into the industry, I was told that anybody could end up with a disability employment service provider to help them back into work. And it is so true. So everyone goes through so many different things throughout their life. And, you know, mental health has been a very big thing, especially with COVID. And it has affected a lot of people returning to work after we've sort of opened up again. So it has been quite a challenge for quite a lot of people. So that's where we come in to help people work through those barriers to gain employment. The ways that we help our participants, so we assist our participants with becoming job ready. We help them out with doing resumes, applying for roles. We give them career advice. We help with mentoring, both for their to get into a job as well as outside. So it might be helping them with family issues, hygiene, those types of things, helping them get into suitable training or getting qualifications. Sorry, I've got mentoring twice on there. That wasn't very clever of me. And once the participant is in employment, we support them for 6 to 12 months to make sure that everything's going okay. So our whole goal is to get people into jobs and stay in jobs. And so we will contact the employer, we will contact the participant on a weekly or fortnightly basis, depending on their requirements, so that we can help get them into, help them keep their role. It could be something simple like they need to go into a performance meeting and they might be a little bit nervous about going into a performance meeting with their boss. We can go in and sit in there. It could be that we need to go out on site with them and help show them what their role is. So it's helping out the employer in that way. How we help employers. So we can provide for employers screened and job ready candidates. So we go through the resumes, we make sure that we have people who are ready to work and willing to work. As I said, most of our caseload is really keen to work, and they're just finding it hard to get over those little barriers that they may not have had 12 months ago, 2 years ago, to be able to get into work. We can provide pre-employment training and work-related equipment, and we can support the new employee when they start to help settle them in. We can access funding for workplace modifications if needed. Some examples, it might be that they, if there's a vision impairment, they might need a large screen. If there's maybe back injury, they might need specialised chairs or desks or something along those lines, and we can access funding for that. We can also access wage subsidies of up to $10,000 for eligible job seekers to help with the cost of training up a new employee. It also helps employing people with disabilities to give employers diversity in the workplace. We can offer workplace training to understand the disabilities for the staff. It may be, an example is we are in the process of organising one employer who has started hiring a lot of people who have autism and on the spectrum. So we're going to be going and meeting with their supervisors to help them understand how that's best for them to speak to and guide their employees to get the best out of them. And again, post-placement support. So that's for both the job seeker and the employer. So where there are issues, then, you know, we can step in and help both sides. The incentives that we have available for employing a person living with a disability. So depending on their situation, there's a range of different wage subsidies that we can access. We have our Restart wage subsidy, which is up to $10,000 for job seekers that are aged 50 and over. We have a Department of Social Services wage subsidy of up to $1,650 for employing an eligible job seeker. And there's a long-term unemployed wage subsidy of up to $6,000 for employing job seekers with CBGT for 12 months or more. We can also look at other wage support that we can negotiate with employers. Now, there are conditions with that, and the job seeker does need to be eligible, and so does the business. The business must have an ABN, not be receiving a wage subsidy for the same job seeker. So there are a lot of wage subsidies out there through the tax office with the apprenticeships and things like that. And so you can't double dip. So if you're not receiving any other wage subsidies, then we can be looking at putting that in. If you're not an Australian state or territory government agency, and you can't be related to the participant either. So if it is a family member, then you will not be eligible for the wage subsidies. So the types of jobs that you can offer. So it can be ongoing full-time jobs, it can be ongoing part-time jobs, and it can be casual jobs of 8 hours or more per week. It can also be apprenticeships or traineeships. Again, depending on the wage subsidies and things like that, you may not be able to get both of them. All the jobs must comply with Australian standards and be paid at the national minimum rate. And that's all I've got. So thank you so much for your time and attention. And if you want some more information, feel free to contact us on 132848. And we're in Stanley Street in Wodonga, if you need any more information.
Thanks so much, Kelly. That's a very brief and succinct and to the point explanation. Can you give us an example maybe of a local success story for disability employment services?
Yeah. So I've got to think of one that's, I had one up the other day. I can't remember. I remember he's got a little dog. So we've got a client that has a lot of anxiety issues and things like that. And he has his little dog. The dog's called Jackson. It's a beautiful little dog. And his biggest thing is going anywhere without the dog. Now, the dog's not actually a service dog, but we've worked with the employer to be able to have the dog there with the employee so that it reduces his anxiety.
Okay, that's a good example.
Yeah.
Excellent. And if an employer is interested to look at the availability of some disabled workers within our region, they would just contact you directly. Yes.
Absolutely. Yep.
Excellent.
We can do what we can to help.
Thank you. Could I just